Module 1, Section 3, and this time we're going to be doing Objective 5. Objective 5 says subtract whole numbers. Okay, so if you remember the situation we had in the last section with addition, Mr. Valetti once again asks 3 different students, but it's the same 3, to work on a problem with whole numbers. He asks them to find the difference of 37 and 13. So here's their work. So compare and contrast the students' work and be ready to give a brief explanation of how each different method works. Okay, so pause the video, look at all 3 of those, and then come back. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on Lola's work here so we can look at the number lines closer. And it looks like the 37 started at 0 and went all the way to 37. Okay. That's the top, or it's the bottom line. Now the top line we're going to subtract 13. So that's why we're going to the left, 13. We're going back the way that we came from, back towards 0. And it looks like she broke it into a 10 and a 3. Okay, so here's 10. And then here's 3 more for a total of 13. Okay, and you can see that right there. And then when she added it together in the actual work, you're going to do 37 minus 10 is 27, and then the 3 just comes over. 27 minus 23 is 24. And sure enough, that's where that third arrow in this case ended up, is at 24. Okay, so let's look at Jose's now since it's right here. Okay, so these are the base 10 blocks. So 37, so there's 10, 20, 30, and here's your 7 units. And you want to take away 13. So one of these rods is grayed out because he took it away. And there's your 3 ones that correlate to that 3. So 10 and 3, there's your 13 that got taken away. What do you have left in color then? 2 rods, which is 20, and 4 units, which is 4. So 24. That one worked out pretty well. Okay, now let's go look over here at JoJo. And if you remember, this is what's called an algorithm. And this, I'm going to actually leave it this size so we can look at Jose's at the same time because it's very similar. Okay, so 37 minus 13, JoJo says it's 24. There's no work whatsoever, but there really was because you did it one column at a time. Starting with the ones column. Okay, so working straight down this way. 7 minus 3 is 4. So here were the 7. We took out those 3 and we are left with 4. Okay, and then you move over to the tens place and you're going to subtract straight down. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So 3 minus this 1, we have 2 left. So 24. So how could you check to make sure the answer to 37 minus 13 really is 24? Show how you check your answer. Okay, we've talked about how closely related add and subtract are in many different ways. But you correct a subtract problem by adding, and you correct an adding problem by subtracting. They are called inverse operations. Okay. So if we had Trying to change my font here. There we go. 37 minus 13 equals 24. That means, working backwards, 24 add 13 should equal 37. Okay, so let me rewrite that one and you can see it here. 37 should equal the other two added up. And do they? So 24 add 13, do they add to give you 37? Sure enough. Okay, so you check problems by using the inverse operation, and the inverse operation for subtract is add. And there you see what I was just talking about on that top line. Okay, so I've already drawn in the base 10 blocks on this next problem. So model 545. So 500, here's our 5 flats. 400 is our 4 rods. 5 are our 5 units. Now we want to subtract 213. Now that doesn't mean in this particular case that I draw a two flats and 1 rod and 3 ones, because now how am I going to subtract these? Right? And if you remember what Jose did on the problem before, to subtract means take away, right? So we're actually going to take them away from what we started with. So we started with 5 flats. We're going to take away 2 flats. So this one's gone. So is that one. Now we started with 4 rods. We're going to take away 1. So that one's gone. We started with 5 units and we want to take away 3. So those are gone. And now what do we have left? We have 3 flats. So that's 300, right? We have 3 rods, which is 30. And we have 2 units, which is just 2. So in other words, 332. Okay, now let's do the algorithm to compare. So the algorithm says, whoa. Whoops, 545 minus 213. Okay, we're going to start over here in the ones place. So 5 minus 3, going straight down, is 2. And now moving to the tens. 4 minus 1, or 40 minus 10, is 3. And the hundreds place, 5 minus 2, or 500 minus 200, is 300. And looks like my 2 went away over here, didn't it? So those are the same, 332, 332. Okay, example 6, we are using the subtraction algorithm and checking our answer with the inverse operation of addition. Okay, so let's set this one up. 76 on the top, 53 on the bottom. Now remember, we talked about the fact that subtract is not commutative. The first one goes on top, the second one goes on the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to go straight down, starting with the ones, and we get 6 minus 3 is 3. Move to the tens, 7 minus 5 is 2. And now we're going to check it, so we're going to go the answer, add the number that we subtracted. So 3 plus 3 is 6, 2 plus 5 is 7. So, yep, the answer is 23. Okay, next one. So first number goes on top, 13,837 minus 1,223. Okay, and starting from the ones column, 7 minus 3 is 4. In the tens place, 3 minus 2 is 1. The hundreds place, 8 minus 2 is 6. The thousands is 13 minus 1 is 2. And then the 10,000s, 1 minus nothing is just 1. You could look at that last part here as 13,000 minus 1 as well. Either way, you're going to get the 12. Okay, let's check it. So the answer added to the number we subtracted should give us what we started with. Okay, so 4 plus 3 is 7. Tens place, 1 plus 2 is 3. Hundreds place, 6 plus 2 is 8. And the thousands, 12 plus 1 is 13. Sure enough. So 12,614 is your answer. All right, C. First number on the top, second number on the bottom, lining them up by place value. And now we're going to start over here with the ones, and then tens, and then hundreds. So 7 minus 2 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. And 9 minus 6 is 3. Double checking, so you take your answer, add the number that you subtracted, and see if we get the number we started with. So 5 plus 2 is 7, 5 plus 1 is 6, and 3 plus 6 is 9, and sure enough it is. So 355 is our answer. If you don't want to take time to check, you don't have to. However, if you miss it because you didn't check, that's definitely your fault, right? Okay. So 28,695 minus 3,124. All right, starting in the ones place, we get 5 minus 4 is 1. Moving over to the tens, 9 minus 2 is 7. And the hundreds, 6 minus 1 is 5. The thousands, 8 minus 3 is 5. And then the 20 doesn't have anything to subtract from it, so it just comes down. All right, double checking. 25,571, add 3,124. Starting with the ones, 1 plus 4 is 5, 7 plus 2 is 9, 5 plus 1 is 6, 5 plus 3 is 8, and then the 2 comes down, and this is what we started with, so that is our correct answer. Okay, Mr. Valetti asked his students to subtract 81 minus 67. Melody uses the subtraction algorithm to perform the operation, but has made a mistake. Here is her work. What mistake did she make, and how can she fix it? Okay, let's just look at that top section for now, and we'll come back to the base 10s in a sec. Okay, so what did she do wrong? The first number's on the top, second number's on the bottom. Okay, 1 minus 7 is not 6, is it? Okay, you have to subtract the same direction. You can't just decide it doesn't work, so we're going to go this way instead. So 1 minus 7, you can't do it. So this is where we need to do what you've known as borrowing. Okay, you can also consider it as regrouping. Okay, let's take a look at the base 10 models we have here. and we'll show you what her mistake is, okay? So we're starting with 81. So there's 81. I need to subtract 67 from this, okay? So subtracting 67 means I'm going to take away 6 of the rods, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are all gone. So I have 2 rods and a unit left. I've taken care of the 6, but now I still need to subtract 7. Okay? I can't subtract 7 from one single. So I'm going to have to take one of these rods and break it up into singles. Okay, so that's going to look something like this, I hope. So we have 2 rods and a single, and that's going to become 1 rod, and then we're going to break one of them into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 singles, and the 1. Okay, so now we want to subtract the 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do we have left? 1 10 and 4 ones. So 14. So you can see her answer is quite a ways off, isn't it? So it's not just barely, it's completely off. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, here's your subtract whole numbers rules. And I'm going to do another base 10 one while we're looking at these rules, okay? So let me get one drawn out first. Hang on. Okay, there's a subtract problem. So we have 324 minus 176. So you can see 324. And now I want to subtract 176 from it, which, as is, it can't be done. We need to regroup a few things. Okay, so this says work from right to left, starting with the ones place. So we're going to start right here. You can't do 4 minus 6. I can't take 6 of the units away. So what I'm going to do is take one of these rods and break it into 10 individual units that it was originally made up from. Above? It was made up of. Yeah, there you go. And now we have plenty to take the 6 away from, right? So there's 2, 4, 6 are gone. So we have 8 left. Okay, now how does that look in our algorithm? Let me rewrite it because I have that. Well, the pink arrow is not quite in the way. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, I can't take 6 from 4. So I'm going to take one of the 10s and break it into 1s. And to do that, we do what is called borrowing, right? So the 2, I'm trying to use a different color, I think. Yeah, the 2 is now a 1, and we bring those 10 1s over next to the 4. So what this is now, this 1 represents the 1 rod that we have left, and that 1 is a 10, so that's 14. That 1 represents these 10 that we added in. And now we can subtract. Okay, so 14 minus 6 is 8. Now you move over to the next column, and we can't you cannot take 7 away from the 1, right? 7 from 1. I want to take 7 rods away from this. I can't do it. So I have to break it down, or break one of the flats down. I'm going to take this one and change it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rods. And now I can take 7 away. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to take the original one, 7, away. So I have 4 left. So what does that look like over on our algorithm? Okay, I can't take 7 from 1, so I'm going to break up one of these hundreds into 10 tens. Okay, so that's now a 2, and now over here I have 11. And if you count up these, 1, 2, 3, we had the 10 that we had that I added, and that 1 that I crossed out, that was 11. So 11 minus 7, I can do that one now, is 4. And now I'm going to take the 1 flat away, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So 148, 148. Yeah, that's kind of a mess, huh? Okay, let me do another one without using the blocks this time. Okay, so let's say I have 123, and I want to subtract 89. Okay, starting with the ones place. I can't take 9 away from 3, can I? So I'm going to take one of these 10s, so now I only have 1 left. And the one that I took, I'm going to break into singles, into units. So now I have 13. Okay, sometimes that's a little confusing to people. So how about I have 13, like that. I added 10 onto the 3, and I have 13. So now 13 minus 9, you can count up, so 9 gives you 10, 11, 12, 13, that's 4. Now I can't take 8 from 1 either, can I? So I'm going to borrow from this 1, it's 100, so I'm going to break it into 10 tens. So now I have an 11 right there. So 11 minus 8 is 3. Okay, we're going to do some more. So don't worry if you don't understand it exactly right now, but let's show you how checking this works. So 34, our answer. Add the number we subtracted and see if we get what we started with. So 4 plus 9 is 13, and 8 plus 3 is 11, add 1 is 12. And we did, so that's the answer. So go back to the problem about the car loan. And if you remember, it was $14,497, and you had enough of a down payment for $3,824. So find the exact amount. So I'm going to set it up. 14,497 minus, I'm going uphill there, sorry, 3,824. And then we're going to check our answer by adding here in just a second. Okay? So with the ones place right here, 7 minus 4, we can do that. So that's 3. Then move over to the tens. 9 minus 2, you can do that as well. That's 7. Move over to the hundreds. 4 minus 8. Cannot do that one, can I? So we're going to have to borrow here. So we're going to, if this is the place you have problems, you borrow from the next number over. Okay, so we're going to borrow from this 4. It's going to become a 3 now. And we're going to take those thousands and split them up into 10 hundreds. So instead of having 4, we now have 14. And again, if you can just write the 1 there in front of it, so this looks like a 14, that's fine. I tend to not do that though because it's messy enough without it, okay? So now 14 minus 8 is 6. 3 minus 3 is 0. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So you would need a loan for exactly $10,673. So if you were a bank and you wanted to estimate it, I would probably say 11,000, right? Okay, now let's double check it, make sure it works. So we take our answer, we add the number that we subtracted, so we're working it up and seeing if we get what we started with. So this plus this should equal that, right? All right, so 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 6 plus 8 is 14. 1 plus 0 plus 3 is 4. And 1 just comes down. This is exactly what we started with. So that is your answer. And remember the $sign in your answer. It's really important. If someone asked you what the answer was and you just said 10,673 cents, no, it's dollars. You need to be certain that you tell them what the unit is you're talking about. Example 7. Evaluate each difference. Check using the inverse operation. Okay, do you always need to check? No, like I said before, but if you miss it because you didn't check, that's on you. It does give you a chance to practice your addition, especially since you have your first exam coming up, so might be a good idea to keep practicing, you know? Okay, so the first number is on the top, second number on the bottom. And we start from the ones place. Cannot do 1 minus 7. So we're going to borrow from the 8. We're going to take one of the 10s. It's now a 7. We're going to break it into units and regroup it with the 1, so it's now 11. So 11 minus 7 is 4, and 7 minus 6 is 1. Double checking. Take our answer, add what we subtracted, so we're starting from the bottom and going up. So 4 plus 7 is 11, and 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So we did get 81, which means 14 is the correct answer. Okay, problem B. You need to write out your numbers. So the difference, we know it's subtract, of 205 and 196. So now in this case, those numbers are so close together, it might be easy just to count up, but we're going to practice borrowing, especially with a 0 in there. Okay? So going down, 5 minus 6, can't do it. So we're going to move into the next column and borrow. We don't have anything in the next column. So we've got to move all the way over to this one. Okay, now let me show you what that looks like using the base 10 blocks. Okay, so really quickly, there's 205. I want to take 6 of these away. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. So the next shape up is one of the hundreds, isn't it? Okay, so you need to break it into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rods. And then we're going to take one of those rods and break it into units. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All so that we can subtract one more unit. Okay, so now you can see I subtracted 6, so I need 6 pink X's. Yep. Okay, so all of these, and these is what I have left. Once I broke up, oh, not all of them, right? I broke this one down. I broke this one down into these. Okay, so what does that look like in the actual problem? Here we go. You cannot take 1 away from the 0, so I have to take it from the 2. So I'm going to borrow 1 from the 2, which means this 0 is now 10. Okay, that's this right here. I didn't have any rods, and once I broke it up, now I have 10. So the 0 is now 10. Okay, so I need to borrow 1 more time because I still haven't subtracted the 6 from the 5. So 10 is now a 9, and now this 5 is a 15. And if you look down here, here's our 10 ones, and here were my original 5. So we had 15. Okay, now we're going to subtract up here. So we have 15 minus 6 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. And 1 minus 1 is also 0. So we have 9 left. So do I need those zeros in front? No. It's just sometimes nice to have a placeholder. I put them in because I didn't know what was happening yet. I wasn't concentrating on that. So if I did 9 minus 9 is 0 here, but then I actually had a number here, then I'd need the 0. Okay? But when you enter your answer in Canvas, all you need is a 9. And you would never tell anybody else your answer is 009. You just say the answer is 9. Now remember down here, I didn't finish the problem. I just was subtracting the 6. I still needed to subtract 9 and the 1. So let's do that really fast. I need to cross out the rest of these 9 and the last one. So all I have left is these 9 units. Okay, next problem. 62 minus 35. Okay, cannot do 2 minus 5, so I'm going to have to borrow. So I'm going to take 1 10 away from the 6 and add it onto the 2, so now I have 12. So now 12 minus 5 is 7, and 5 minus 3 is 2. So my answer, add the number I subtracted. Let's see what I get. 7 plus 5 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6. And this is what we started with, so that is my answer. Let's go back and check the one we just did over here too. Okay, and it's kind of weird having the bigger number on the bottom, but it still works because we're adding, right? So 9 plus 6 is 15. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's this. So 9 is my answer. Okay, last one. The difference of 403 and 56. So we get to work with a 0 again. All right, so we cannot do 3 minus 6. So we're going to borrow from the 0, which we can't. So you have to borrow from the 4. So 4 is now a 3. Let's not do it quite so messy, shall we? Let's do 4 is a 3, which means the 0 is now 10. But now I have to borrow from the 10, so it's a 9, and the 3 is a 13. Okay, so 13 minus 6 is 7. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 3 minus nothing is 3. Let's double check it. 347, add 56, so we have 13. 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 and 5 is 10. 1 plus 4 is 3. Sure enough, so that's my answer. Okay, now in these last 4, I broke your set of 8 into 2 pages of 4. Just for the sake of quickness, I'm not going to check them, although you should, okay? So here we go. All right, 1,029 minus 562. All right, now you're not going to automatically borrow. You're going to double check and see if you need to first, right? Okay, so 9 minus 2, we can do that one. So 9 minus 2 is 7. 2 minus 6, can't do it, so we're going to have to borrow. So borrow from the 0, which we can't, so we borrow from the 1. And this now becomes a 10. 10 is now a 9, this is now a 12. 6 from 12, so 12 minus 6 now we can do. So that's 6, and 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, now if you want to, you could just go 7 plus 2 is 9, 6 plus 6 is 12, but we're carrying the 1, so 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, next one. 57091 and 6774. Subtracting. Okay, we cannot do 1 minus 4, so we have to borrow. So we borrow from the 9, it is now an 8, and the 1 is now an 11. So 11 minus 4 is 7. 8 minus 7 is a 1. 0 minus 7 can't do it, so we have to borrow. So the 7 is a 6, and the 0 is now 10. So 10 minus 7 is 3. 6 minus 6 is 0. And 5 minus nothing is 5. So it's 50,317. And G, 9078 minus 2,839. Okay, so cannot do 8 minus 9, so we need to borrow. Take 1 away from the 7, it's now a 6, and you put those 10 with the 8 to give you 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. 6 minus 3 in the tens column is a 3. We don't have to worry about borrowing. Okay, now 8 from 2. 8 from 0. Can't do it. There we go. So, right here, can't do 0 minus 8. So we're going to borrow from the 9. It is an 8. And the 0 is now 10. You're borrowing 10 every time because that's what base 10 numbers do, right? So 10 minus 8 is 2, and 8 minus 2 is 6. And the last one. This looks like a horrible problem, but it really isn't. It's kind of fun. I may have a strange sense of fun, but I like these. Okay, when you rewrite it, just double check, make sure you wrote everything in the correct order. reversing two numbers is going to make you miss the entire problem, right? Okay, so 8 minus 9, we can't do it, so let's borrow. Take 1 away from the 5 and add 10 onto the 8. So 18 minus 9 is 9. Now in the tens place, 4 minus 1 is 3. In the hundreds place, 7 minus 1 is 6. We got all the way over there before we needed to borrow again. So 2 cannot subtract 5 from it, so we're going to have to borrow. And of course they gave us a 0 to work with. Okay, so can't borrow from the 0, we're going to have to borrow from the 7. It's a 6. And now this is a 10. Still doesn't help our 2 situation, so now we're going to borrow from the 10, and the 2 is a 12. Okay, so 12 minus 5 is 7, 9 minus 4 is 5, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So 357,639. Now you can see how this part right here is extremely important that you stay organized. Okay, and if you notice, I changed colors. I wrote them nice and neat. I kept them all in nice rows, because the messier you are, the more chance you have of making a mistake. Okay, so watch your work carefully. If you think you may have made a mistake, double check by correcting your work using add. Okay, that's it for this one.